Hello and welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast. This is episode 80, something I forgot, 80 odd. And I'm here, me, Martin Naylor, is with Liam O'Meara and possibly someone else in the future. We'll see how this episode goes. Liam, how are you doing, mate?
I'm very good, Martin. Very, very good. How's it going?
All right. I had a weekend I'd rather forget, but we'll worry about that later in the episode.
Of course.
How is your New Year's resolution going?
Yeah, good. Obviously, the weight is still coming off. Another 4.5 pounds just come back from the way now. So, what am I now? 2 stone and 5 pounds off. And to be fair, 9 pounds this year so far. And what we on there? The 13th. I'm losing just shy of £1 a day at the moment.
How are you feeling?
Better, but hungry all the time. But yeah, I do feel better. And old clothes are sort of fitting now. New clothes that I've recently bought don't fit anymore. I feel lighter on my feet. Yeah, I do. I feel lighter on my feet, and I'm sleeping better. But I think cutting the booze out a bit has helped with all that kind of stuff. But this isn't about stopping drinking or anything like that. It just obviously helps with weight loss to not drink. I'm not saying I'm not going to drink again, but I think that has helped with a lot of stuff, to be fair.
Mine's going well.
I was going to put that question back. I was just not sure if you were going to ask a follow-up or not. But hey, let me do that properly. How has yours gone, man?
No, I was thinking of a follow-up and it went out of my mouth as soon as I tried to speak, so I just turned the conversation onto me, my favourite subject. No, yeah, good. I do agree with the lighter on my feet because I messed my foot up right before New Year's Eve, and then...
Oh, really?
I don't know what I did. Just DJing in the wrong footwear.
Goat.
It was something like... It felt something biblical.
I know someone with gout. It looks awful. Like it looks like one of the most painful things I've ever seen in my life.
It was Achilles tendonitis, which I've never suffered with before, but I think DJing in the wrong footwear doesn't help. So...
is that where it, like, at the bottom... Not like where the bottom of your foot is, because I injured my Achilles, didn't I, a few years back, if you remember. I had the moon boot on and everything.
It could have either been plantar fasciitis, which is the arch of your foot collapsing, which is apparently really painful, but it was more around the heel, and I seem to have got around it a lot of pills and different comfortable shoes and all sorts of looking after myself, but also like dieting's better and getting back in the gym and stuff has helped. So
good.
Feeling lighter, feeling good.
The gym's the next step for me, but I don't think I'm quite there yet.
No. But yeah, it'll come as long as you're on the path and you're enjoying it and feeling better. That's good.
Well, yeah, that's it, innit? That's it. Doing like home workouts, like press ups and stuff like that. That's good. When you press up in my weight, that's like lifting fucking
and this on
all the gym. Like it's like I'm gonna bust an artery in my head when I'm doing a few press ups. But yeah, I've started doing that kind of stuff. But we'll get to the gym at some point, I'm sure.
Good. Right, listen, we are fast approaching 100 episodes.
Yes.
Centenary episode.
That's all I can think about.
We're going to do something. There's no room for your sarcasm here. Listen, we're going to do something special for it.
Are we?
Get a big old production going. We
get balloons.
Yeah, balloons, hats, funny outfits, a crew, whatever. I don't know.
No,
the thing is, though,
we're not meeting up because no one will turn up.
We're doing a Q&A style part on the episode. So I've been asking for questions. I've got a few in already.
Really?
Yeah. If you would like to, you, the listener, would like to submit a question to be featured on the 100th episode.
A nice question.
It can be for us. It can be just about football in general and just get someone to talk about it. Submit it however you like at fixingfootballpodcast@gmail.com or down any of our social media channels, which you can find on our website. That being said, what else have we got going on? Loads.
If that's a question of if I've forgotten something, I have. I don't think we have. I think we've just got this episode. I think we've covered everything else.
Right, well, there's been a lot been going on in the world of football.
Yes.
We'll get to the FA Cup in a minute, but did you watch the Classico in Saudi?
I did.
On Sunday evening.
Yes, I did watch that. What a game. What a Barcelona performance. And what a job Flicker's done with that Barcelona team, particularly Rafinha.
Rafinha looks unbelievable, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks fantastic. And it's easy to say, like, you look at Yamal and stuff like that, they're brilliant, but Rafinha looks every bit a Barcelona player now.
The fact Rafinha's wearing the armband is... I don't know if he's wearing it on most occasions or he was third or fourth down the line.
Yeah, no more. I think most occasions, I think. Wow. Certainly every time I'm not going to pretend I'm like Guillem Balaguer with the inside track on Barcelona, but every time I've watched him, he's captain. And he leads from the front in terms of how he plays. Like, he's very like, except because he's got positional awareness and can influence games. He's a bit like Bruno Fernandes in the sense that he's like leading with how he plays. Yeah.
No, I get it. He's just... But you never would have thought of him as a captain from his Leeds days. A good player, but like... Yeah, just didn't see him being captain of Barcelona one day. But fair play to him.
No, but they do a brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yamal, I mean, that first goal from Yamal, which was they were behind at that point, because obviously Mbappe had probably the most Mbappe type goal you could score to open the score. And but the point where he picks the ball up and you just know he's going to score, even though there's still quite a lot to do, because you cannot stop Mbappe in that position. But because he's playing for Real Madrid now, he can't get in that position a lot because it's very rare he can counter-attack But that's a side thing. Yamal's first goal, if you've not seen it, is unbelievable.
This is probably bordering on an episode in itself, but we've also seen the Milan derby being played out in Saudi for a cup final, some sort of super cup.
They're all final. Super Cups, these are all Super Cups, and you're probably right. It's probably as an episode in itself, but I think this is the trend to sell the Super Cups out to Saudi Arabia. Yeah,
pacifies it, doesn't it? I mean, we'd have sort of touched on it in the past as well, but it does pacify the need for their investment and their money in getting hold of it, and
it is
doing something with it.
They do matter, these games still as well, but the thing is, a Classico is always going to matter. A Milan derby is always going to matter. Would moving the charity/community shield out there, will that add any more prestige to it? Would it add prestige to it if we put the top four out there from the season beforehand? Possibly. I know how much Arteta values that trophy, so he would go all out, I imagine. But I don't know. I think that's an episode in itself. I think you're right.
Saudi's involvement. I get that it's the Super Cup thing, but when you see the Milan derby being played outside of Italy, it just is horrible. It's a horrible thought to think that United v City would be played out, that a game that could actually mean something.
There's less of a need for the Premier League to do it. The Premier League is still, in terms of revenue,
if it was FA Cup,
much higher.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about the League Cup before and the issues there, and obviously the FA Cup as well. We've touched on that. I know we talked about replays already in a previous episode. So this is the first weekend that came into effect, and it came into massive effect. And,
big time.
But yeah, it's probably the worst impact it possibly could have had, really. But
so you're referring to Tamworth versus Tottenham?
Yeah, big payout missed, massive payout.
So there was the draw, and obviously no replays. So let's imagine that we are most people's only source of information for football, and that people don't listen to as much football as probably we do.
Mm?
So Tamworth got the game to 2 extra time, which would essentially, in previous years, have been forced to replay, which would have taken them to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
And then they would have generated 45% of them ticket sales, which would have been, 60-odd thousand, which is a couple million quid.
Well, Kieran Maguire, who was up for an award in our category, so I like to think of him as a rival podcast.
A peer.
A peer, that's the right word. The Price of Football podcast. He estimated, based on what he believed the ticket price would be and what it would be, it'd be worth about £900,000 to Tamworth.
But that's before you even chuck another TV.
Yeah, before TV. That's before TV deal, and before any increased sponsorship that they might do. But I think the National League owns that when they do extra sponsorship. I think they'll go straight to the National League for that kind of stuff. But yeah, the fixture itself before anything else, £900,000.
And how much, in your estimate, how far does £900,000 go to a team like Tamworth?
Well, Tamworth aren't a professional club, so very fucking far. They're not professional. That's what's nuts about this. They are literally part-time, training twice a week. The equivalent to, what, around here, Tempest United?
Yeah, a semi-pro team.
Yeah.
Maybe not Tempest, but yeah.
Daisy Hill, maybe?
Atherton.
Everton Collieries, yeah.
Yeah.
So the equivalent of that. I think, is it the same division? I think it's the division above Everton Collieries. Division above Everton Collieries. Because they got promoted. They've got two successive promotions, but they're still part-time. But 900,000, I mean, do you go professional?
900,000 probably sustains that club, just the books of that club for the next 3 to 5 years.
Probably more than that. With the way they run, probably a lot more than that. A professional club, it'd be a bit more, but for them, probably more than that.
Which is insane. Yeah, maybe that, money like that is the difference between them coming professional and being able to invest in the stadium and the infrastructure and stuff like that. And
potentially a decision to be made there. I mean, if they get promoted again, they're going to have to rip up that pitch.
Yeah.
And that'll be at a cost.
So, while I think we were all in favour of scrapping replays due to the calendar and the need to bloody invite Saudi into our world, no, we were all in agreement at the time. I think we outlined the pros and cons, but I think it was always going to happen and be accepted. This is a real kick in the dick of what could have been in it.
Well, yeah, and I think what rubs salt in the wounds from the Tamworth perspective is the fact that the idea of this is to reduce the amount of fixtures. Yet, straight at the end of the season, you've got Newcastle playing Tottenham in Australia within a week of the end of the season. An absolutely meaningless game of football. So,
if I was a professional footballer, I would be so injured for that match.
It's outrageous. It really is outrageous. The scrapping of replays, it really is. But it got agreed upon, so everyone knows the rules. It is what it is. I suppose in a warped reality, if you're looking at purely sporting terms rather than being focused purely on the money, I suppose Tamworth do have a better chance of beating them on the day. That rather than it be going to a replay. So there is that element, I suppose, but it's hard to separate the money from it because that is what Tamworth aren't going to win the FA Cup, are they? So that is winning. So I think I've seen that argument made by quite a lot of, I think, top six fans about they've got a better chance of winning on the day, and that may be true. But winning for them is that game. Even for Bolton, that League Cup fixture away at Arsenal worth a lot of money to them. So even in that sense, even that was still winning even for a club like Bolton, who were, a League One professional club with decent size. So
yeah, right. What else was the big news of the weekend? We'll get on to the Arsenal match in a little bit. But were there any other fixtures that stood out to you, or should we get onto the other news from in the week?
Not really. A lot of the teams you'd expect to win won. I think the only shock result that involved Premier League teams, which is kind of what we're interested in. Brentford losing at home to Plymouth. I think that was quite the biggest shock, and they made quite a lot of changes. Brentford, when teams like Spurs aren't, Brentford are, and I'm struggling to understand the logic. And I'm seeing it quite defended by Brentford fans, as if like finishing between 9th and 13th and the battle of that, like it makes any difference to anyone whatsoever. Whereas actually having a run at the FA, I don't know. I find it a wasted opportunity for a club like Brentford. I don't see what they're trying to do, because for me that's a potential route into Europe for them. If Europe's the plan, that's an easier route than the league, I think.
I agree, especially given their league position. They're not in danger of relegation.
Exactly. Well, that's it. Like what you saving yourselves for?
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to the big news in football this week. Is that Sean Dyche had lost his job and was replaced by the returning legend, should we say, David Moyes.
Is he an Everton legend? I'd like to ask an Everton fan that question, but
I think that camp's split 50-50, you know. I think there's I've seen a lot of contradicting posts on X and across social media about, you know, how they felt about him leaving, especially with him going to Man United, and they have some made up rivalry with Man United that no one really cares about other than them.
I didn't know there was a rivalry, to be honest. I just thought they wanted him to beat Liverpool. I thought Everton were happy with United beating Liverpool, to be honest.
It's like Bolton rivalry with Man United that only Bolton care about. It's like that.
Right.
Anyway, or others who are happy that this guy who brought them arguably some of their better times in the last couple decades has returned and will lead them into their new stadium and hopefully keep them in the Premier League.
Well, that's objective number one, isn't it? And with regards to what they want to do, yeah, I find the old not liking Moyes because of the way he left. I found that absolutely nonsensical. How long that had gone a bit stale as well. That Everton team at the time.
They'd had multiple close call last day escapes from relegation, and then they went on a tear pushing for UEFA Cup at the time and even qualifying for the Champions League one year, only to be right. So remind me, but did they get in the Champions League or did
they did
get fourth and then Liverpool won it?
They lost
being fifth or something.
No,
like
that was somebody else, I think.
Or was that when Chelsea?
I think, yeah, that was somebody else. Everton did get in, but they got knocked out in the playoffs. I remember because I was with I was with Steve watching that in Salford when we were at uni, and it was an away game.
Steve had to watch football with you. Everton going out of the Champions League, and you're there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I just remember because I remember at the time Seamus Coleman was breaking through, and he hated him. Thought he was never going to make it. And if I remember rightly. And again, I'm going back some time here because I think we're in the old Pine Pot in Salford, if anyone knows that pub. And if I remember rightly, Seamus Coleman had a shocker. I can't remember what year it was. Well, it'll be 2000, and if we were going Pine Pot, it'd probably be around 2008-9 season.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
But I think they went out in the playoffs.
So
I think they went out in the playoffs.
Anyway, they went on a tear, pushing for the European places, 6th and 8th and 4th even. And then it was a lot of close calls again for relegation before Moyes left. Obviously for Man United. So, yeah, you're right. It was a bit up and down that time. The good times clearly outweighing the bad in a lot of the Everton fans' eyes. So what do you make of him coming back then? From Moyes' point of view?
If you take the fact that he's been there before out of the equation, it makes sense as an appointment because he did a very good job at West Ham. He transformed West Ham into a team that's challenging. Wasn't the best football. I think everyone could agree with that, you know, and we've had some talking with Everton fans online. We've had that, with some West Ham fans online. So it wasn't the best football. But he did make them into a very, very strong team. And he seems a reliable choice, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like, the first objective is to stay in the division. And if you can think about that, he seems a good idea on that basis, I think. Because you're losing the man who probably would be number one choice for that job.
I've been impressed with Moyes doing a lot of his punditry work outside of, obviously coming out of West Ham. He speaks very well, and he speaks a lot better than you would think if you only knew him from watching his teams play. His idea of the way the game should be played and his outlook on, the way players should be brought in and integrated to the team and how he manages certain people and stuff like that. It's very interesting. He did a lot of work with, I think, with BBC and stuff over the World Cup.
Before this job, he was on TalkSport a lot, wasn't he? I think he was on the Breakfast Show with Alan Brazil a lot.
He'd jump on that, yeah.
And I completely agree. He's really, really knowledgeable.
So a lot of the younger players can probably relate to that. The players who weren't around to see, not the likes of Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman who are still hanging around, who will be there to have, been part of Moyes' era firsthand. So he's obviously the first decision made by the Friedkin group. Is that right?
That's it, Friedkin, yeah.
Do you think this is an early, let's try and get fans on side, let's do what we can? Because in my opinion, even though they are where they are, and I haven't got the league table in front of me, but I know they're down there somewhere.
They're a bad run away from being in trouble.
Yeah, I didn't see Dyche taking them down, though. I always thought they would still have enough.
No, I also thought they were playing a bit better as well. I know they had a bad defeat very recently, but yeah, I felt like they were playing a bit better. Everton.
I agree, yeah. So, is this a move from the Friedkin group to, an initial push? There probably won't be much funds to spend in January if certain reports are to be believed, and I think we'll find out on the 14th of January, which will be today when this is released, about clubs who may be on the naughty step in terms of PSR rulings from 2024. So we'll find out all that, or maybe 23-24 season, or whenever them books are. So we'll find out that, and people will know about that when this goes out. So Everton are rumoured to be one of them clubs who are, again, close to the mark when it comes to PSR. So
yeah,
I can't see there being a lot unless there's some significant outgoings. I can't see them being movement. So is Moyes the right appointment by them to, guarantee them safety?
Yeah, get the most out of what they've got already. I do think there is some potential to move around a little bit, though. They've got a few sellable assets there. If they wanted to sort of short-term improve the squad, get more firepower in, maybe with some fee-paying loans or options to buy, that type of approach, borrow from the future, there are sellable assets there. If they're prepared to, I think, feel a little bit of pain in doing them. Braithwaite, you could probably get a significant fee for him, even in this market, I think, even in January.
I think someone would be willing to pay 40 plus for Braithwaite now. All cash, get them off the books. If you want to go down the Crystal Palace Mark Gay route and push 60, 70, maybe someone would still pay that, but you're not going to get the initial big cash injection.
No. So, and that will hurt. You won't want to do that, but that is an option for you. As is Pickford. Again, another one. He was going to be the one I had mentioned. Yeah. Another one who you probably don't want to, because he's been brilliant for Everton and England. But you're probably talking a £20 million goalkeeper there.
Oh, at least. I still think they would get some money for Calvert-Lewin. I don't think he's in the shop window as much as he would like to be. But I still think there's some money in him if they could find a buyer.
Possibly. I could see a team coming up, potentially investing in, thinking that if we go down, he's a good championship option as well.
Absolutely. I could see him being a bit like Solanke. Where
I'd say Ipswich, but Ipswich have probably got better options already with Smodic and Liam Delap. But that type of club, theoretically. Yeah.
So there is potential money on the table for them if they need it, but I guess we'll see. I don't know what else. So what you make of Everton's season so far? I mean, did you see the Dyche sacking coming?
No, but I didn't. But there's been a lot quite coming out afterwards, hasn't there? That essentially it was actually initiated by Dyche, not the other way around. Because I think a lot of the initial reaction was, well, they must want their own man in Friedkin.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily what they wanted to do straight away. But I think the word is that apparently in one of the very first meetings, Dyche has turned and gone, they're not playing for me anymore. My message has got stale. Without investment, I can't do anything else with this group of players. I've squeezed every bit I can out of them. My message is tired. They're not responding. I can't do anything more. And basically, and it was a mutual consent. It very much was, I've done everything I can here. You need a new voice in this.
Interesting.
It doesn't seem very Dyche, does it?
It doesn't. It kind of it might ring a bit close to home, that message, Liam. If we start talking about someone else's club very soon, we'll get onto that in the second half. But that is interesting.
But not saying it to the press potentially.
Yeah, true. Right, what do you see for Everton then? I haven't been able to speak to any Everton fans since this news.
No,
the last one I did do was a bit sort of like in the boat that we'd spoken about, where they were happy for they weren't going anywhere under Dyche, but they also weren't going down.
Well, that's it. I would look at your loan options, to be completely honest. Try and getting one or two buddies in. I wouldn't even go nuts. Just make sure you've got enough firepower to get through the season, and then assess things in the summer when you move into your new stadium.
Glad Moyes is going to get that Liverpool game at Goodison Park to.
Yeah, that's not longer way, is it? What is it? February, was it?
Yeah, it was February sometime.
Yeah.
So
I saw a notification on my phone. I don't know why Sky Sports felt I needed to know that instantly. Breaking news, and I was like, all right, okay. And I didn't click the link. I just saw that it had been arranged, but I believe it's February from seeing an alert on Fantasy Premier League that it was game week 24, whatever that means in English.
Yeah.
So
I've die on game week. Oh, it's game week 33. Oh.
Yeah, I've kind of worked out that must be February-ish.
Right, fair. Right, so we've covered Everton, covered a bit of the FA Cup. Let's have a quick break, and then we'll talk about your club, my club, and someone else's club.
Yes.
And we're back. Right, Liam. We'll talk about my stupid team in a minute and the world of Arsenal. But let's talk about Bolton Wanderers. You weren't in FA Cup action this weekend. You're in League One action. And Ian Evatt, your manager, has had a few choice words this time for the players, it seems. What's been the reaction like across the Bolton Wanderers world?
Well, covering both our team in this segment, it's going to be quite a bleak segment, I think, because I think a lot came to a head this weekend for a lot of different reasons. So, firstly, we spent quite a lot of money on Joe Randall. We talked about this a little bit in last week's podcast that transfer was meant to happen.
What was the rumoured fee for that? What we're looking
1.2 million.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, 1.2 million.
Talk about
Charles. What's that?
Sorry, I was just going to say I've seen some talk about Dion Charles potentially.
We'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, you've had a transfer in, and
transfer in for serious money on a position we're pretty well stacked in by my account. I know we touched on this last week, but we'll not cover all ground. But so there's a bit of hope going into the game on the back of a decent win away at Exeter. So, and we've just done exactly what we've talked about, and it's hard to. We've just dropped the ball again with no consistency whatsoever. And it's hard to keep... I don't know what to say that's new here, like that I haven't already said, because it's very much following the pattern of not being able to string any kind of consistent form together.
So, what we're saying about Ian Evatt then? You're firmly in the he needs to leave camp. Is it too late for him to leave, or what? Is it?
No,
for you, there's still time to...
Well, there's definitely time for him to leave.
But for someone else to turn it around before the end of the season.
Well, this season, I mean, you can always get in. The thing is with our division, you can always get in the playoffs. So you've always got that option. There is always that chance that you could potentially do that. So a season's never really fully over until you're out of the mix in like April time. But let's not kid ourselves. Like, we don't look like getting there now. It's poor. We're not playing well. That was the thing. I think 15 minutes into the game, I remember saying to my dad, I was like, we're not in this here. Like, we don't, and we never turn games around, really. I know we came from behind last week, but we were quite stuffy to do that. We don't really if we're not in control of a game, we don't grab the game. We don't turn things around. So it is the time this season. I don't think that should be a part of the decision. The decision was, are we getting better or worse? And and if you make it that simple, it's pretty obvious what the answer is.
Well, Ian Evatt came out and criticised the players and their mentality and spirit, if you will. Well, we just spoke about Sean Dyche sort of holding his hands up and saying, like, they ain't fucking listening to me anymore.
Well,
this is
I mean, he's kind of said the same thing. He has kind of said the same thing, except he can say whatever he wants. He doesn't get sacked. But Ian Emmett was hurting, really, really hurting, because he was getting a lot of stick in that game. Like, you could hear it. Game was on Sky, Red Button. Loads of games were called off at the weekend, so there was only 2 games to choose from, and we were the biggest game. So on that Red Button, so quite a few people were watching it, and all you could hear all the second half was people chanting that they wanted Ian Emmett out. The whole half.
And there's a lot. There's even, I've seen pictures of banners and stuff.
Bed sheets. The Wenger out. We're very much in Wenger out category now.
Don't bring us into it. We've got our own problems.
Okay, but it very much feels like the Wenger out type approach, where there's bed sheets up. There's no one. I don't know anyone who wants him to be manager anymore, except the board at Bolton Wanderers.
Honest question now. Can he still turn it around, or are we just, we're chasing it? Because we've said this sort of at the beginning of the season when you had a bit of a stinky run, that we're just going to be back here in 6 months, and then you did turn it around. It's sort of played out as you've said.
I told you so, but at the beginning of the season I said the problem is that every defeat will hurt like fuck, and everyone will have no resilience to anything because he had to go then. He needed a fresh approach, and that's where we are. But the problem is we're actually playing pretty bad. We're in a bad position. We're not playing well. We're not getting points, and we're not looking like a playoff team. And all of a sudden, the games in hand that we had are all gone. So there's absolutely no basis to keep him there. Can he turn it around? Well, yeah, anything's possible. Like, he could win every game this season. Will he? Will he? Fuck.
Right. Well, let's park Bolton Wanderers then until the next loss. And
yeah, until I'm really out of things to say. Like, other than I'm starting to get just annoyed with the situation. It's just doing my head in.
In fact, last one. Are you surprised that he was backed with the signing of Randall?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I am, because I've got a brain and I'm not able to rationalise that decision. However, Sharon Britton, the chairwoman, did come out in the press through the club's media 3-4 weeks ago, publicly backing him, that they would fully be backing him. So maybe I shouldn't have been surprised, because she said that they were backing him. But am I surprised? Yeah, because I've got a brain and,
Up for debate. Luke Foley is here. Thank the Lord above. Luke Foley, how are you?
I'm brilliant, Martin. How are you?
I'm fine. Me and Liam have spoken. We've ironed out any personal issues we've had, so everyone's all right now. How are your New Year's resolutions going?
Very well. I've actually just signed up to a running coach, so full steam ahead with the running aspect.
Aren't you quite familiar with running already?
Yeah, but I feel I've gone a bit stale. I think I've done everything I can, so I think I need some proper advice how to get to the next stage.
What does that look like?
I was going to say, I'm genuinely interested I mean, don't get me wrong, I know we did like mechanics and stuff, but like...
Yeah, be fitter, run more. Like, I get that, but...
Is it like breathing or like counting in your head about steps? Like, what does it look like?
Lee, you're really showing that you don't do an exercise here, don't you? Breathing.
Well, people who listen to the podcast will know that I have been doing exercise, Luke, but thank you.
Okay. No,
Luke
it's structured workouts and setting the right goals and making sure I'm doing the right things before races, and my training's kind of specific to each event.
Okay. Let's wake our listeners up for this portion.
Hang on, one more question. Would this mean that you'd have a higher VO2 max than Bruno Fernandes?
Depends what VO2 max he has.
There was a Let's move past that. That was rubbish, Liam. Luke, Arsenal v Man United. Let's get straight into it. I say straight into it. This is the last little bit of the podcast. Thoughts on the match for you? We can deep dive which part, wherever you want to go. But your overall thoughts on the match?
A brilliant result for the team that's meant to be garbage, according to you, Martin. Yeah, I think we hung in there.
Hold on. Are you saying this is a good Man United team?
Well,
Are you saying this is a good Man United team?
No, not at all.
Right, okay, well,
can I
move past that? Any comment?
Just I do have a comment on that before Luke continues. I would say it's the best version of this United team. I'd say Amarin's found the best version of the team. I would say that.
Yeah, play top side. He seems to get a performance out of him. The best performances have been against those City and Liverpool. Anyway, no, please go on about the match.
Well, to Liam's point, yeah, I think he's found that team where that midfield is Agate and Kobe Mainu, who's kind of turned the corner, I suppose. I think there's still question marks about the wing backs positions. Again, Delo, I don't know what he was thinking yesterday. What silly 2 challenges. Well, especially the second one to get me sent off. So I still think
the second one was daft.
Yeah, it was silly. Yeah, I think so. In them positions, potentially we could strengthen there. But
let's stay on the performance for now. We'll get
so
on to that.
performance-wise, what a finish by Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, very good.
Technique there is that's who we needed the last match in that last chance when it fell to Harry Maguire. Exactly the same. So brilliant goal from Bruno Fernandes. I agree with the penalty. I think he left I think Havertz went for it, as in he saw the failing leg, but Maguire did stick our leg out. I don't think you can do that in the box.
He bought it. Havertz bought it, or Havertz sold it, and Maguire bought it. Sort of. It was. Yeah, I think it was super soft, and to be honest, I don't know if that had been given in the Premier League, but I also think I sort of side with you. It probably was just about a penalty.
Yeah, because he moved his leg outwards. I think it was. I didn't get the commentator saying it was harsh. I thought it was a penalty in personal opinion. And then I'm just looking at the stats now, and it does seem like you was kind of all over us, but it didn't feel like that watching it. It seemed like we had some chances, even at 10 men down. We was kind of trying to attack you.
You did attack, but there weren't many chances come out of it other than the one where Raya made a save down to his near post off the deflection. Just no many chances come out of it, but you were trying to counter us and stuff, but it was all us. It was complete, domination really, other than us actually fucking putting the ball in the net.
I won't say domination.
I would.
Dominate a lot of these games that you don't win.
I did say this in one of our previous episodes about how many games we do dominate in terms of passes, keeping hold of the ball, even chances created now.
You sound like our manager there.
We just ain't winning. I'm not saying we've won and we haven't. The facts
you made the chances you created in this game. What I will say is that you should win games with the chances that you created. You've missed 2 sitters, and I know De Ligt cleared that one off the line, but if Trossard had anything about him, De Ligt gets nowhere near that.
100%. Yeah, you're right.
Or the multiple chances Havertz had. Like,
Here we go.
Come on. He was absolute shocking yesterday, and you've been raving about him all season. Even I would score some of them goals.
Yeah. I'm not going to say and defend him, but I'm not. Just because he had a bad game yesterday doesn't mean he hasn't been good. He doesn't. He's just one of them players who has stinkers, and when he has a stinker, everyone knows about it. And
he's had a few stinkers in a row, hasn't he?
Yep. And he's not on his own as well. There's other players who aren't doing great around him, and I think he's a player who needs to be full of confidence, and it ain't there. And when we ain't winning games, like I think we've had something like 49 shots in the last 3 games and scored 1. Something crazy along them lines. We're averaging like an XG. I know no one likes XG, but we're averaging like 6.3 or something per game, and we're scoring like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Anyway, back to United.
Back to Man United.
So, I think Bruno has been outstanding. Like, I don't know what's Ruben Amorim said to him, but he's been the player that he was 5 seasons ago. Like, maybe he's been a star player.
Maybe Bruno doesn't understand English as well as we think he does, and he's just waited for a Portuguese manager to come in and tell him what's going on again.
Yeah, honestly, he's definitely turned the corner. But again, that midfield, I think, is really turned the corner for us for the team. I think that's kind of a stable midfield. So keeping over Kobe Mainoo is, I've heard these rumours that he's potentially leaving. I think we should be trying to not benefit him all being a homegrown player and getting all the kind of PSR money behind it. I think we should be keeping hold of him and keeping just them two in midfield.
Yeah, it's very hard to come by when you get a player like that. It massively helps if they're homegrown because you didn't pay anything for him, but you need to pay him what he's worth, and I think that's going to be the sticking block. I think he'll sign. I don't see him going anywhere.
I do think Højlund ran around a lot yesterday, but anyone could run around a lot. I could do that.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're new running coach.
Exactly.
Højlund didn't have a sniff yesterday, but there's no shame in that. What you've got to do is keep working. I think that's why I sort of like Højlund. He does seem like he's willing to. Doesn't spit his dummies out. He'll put a shift in, drag him off after 75 minutes. Looks like he's blowing out his ass. Bring that fat lump Xerxes on.
Yeah, they scored, Martin.
Nearly, he's not scoring. I'll tell
you. It made Saliba look like pretty much every defender you've had for the last 15 years. Should we go with Scalacci? Could go with
take your pick.
Mustafi, maybe.
Yeah.
So one turn doesn't make Xerxes a good striker. It doesn't make Saliba bad. You're being silly now. But yeah, I like Højlund. It's fine. I thought United's game plan was clear from the outset. I don't think keeping 11 players on the pitch would have changed much of that. What went on in the second half either.
I have an Arsenal question.
Please.
Do you think David Raya wasn't diving early enough for the penalties?
We're on the penalties. It's like he'd read his instructions about where he thought players were going to go and thinks, if I'm there early...
Yeah, they'll never change their mind because everyone says, don't change your mind, no matter what.
Yeah. He looked like he had a stick. It's so hard.
Except
penalties.
If the keeper's already there, then maybe you can change your mind.
They're so hard penalties. One thing I will say though is I've never not felt confident about Arsenal going into a penalty shootout. We might have only lost one or two in all the time I've watched us in games. I can't remember the last big one we lost. It might have been in the Champions League or Europa League. And before that, it was years and years ago.
Yeah, is it like the UEFA Cup final or something?
Something like we've got a really good record, and I've never not felt confident. But yesterday, as soon as it went to penalties, I knew we weren't going to win. I knew it. I just had this, and I Raya's a great keeper. I just didn't have confidence that we would win it, and that's.
You lost a double advantage as well. Not only did you not go first, which I don't know why commentators don't know the stats, but it's like 60% of time you win if you go first. Like it's really favours it, and no one ever talks about it. But it's massive to go first. Not only that, it was at the United end. It's like a double advantage.
Yeah, totally agree. It's weird that they do two coin tosses. It's usually one. You get to choose which end, and the other one gets to choose if they want to go first or second. But now they do it two. So
yeah, exactly. Exchange. I think the fact that most of the clubs know the statistics of regarding the advantage of going first. I think that's
if you've got the option, go first. 100%.
Yeah, the ends is less important, I believe, but going first is massive.
So, Luke, let's wrap up your thoughts on Man United. We can get on to the mess that Arsenal seem to be in, if you want to believe the media of today. You seem to, the last couple of performances seem to be stringing things together a little bit better. You're right, Amorim settled on something and getting a tune out of Bruno Fernandes, whether that's a bit more disciplined or making everyone else more disciplined around him, which is what everyone's been saying for a while. I mean, what are your thoughts on sort of everything and after that? I mean, it's a great win for United. I think it's more of a loss for us than a great win for Man United. I think but fair play anyway. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. I feel shit. I fucking it. You know what else, Liam?
Luke,
I lost my.
Here's the question. Here's the question. We ask this every week.
I lost my 100% FFP derby record. Everyone's been an Arsenal win.
Really?
Yeah. Chelsea, we slapped Bolton this year, so I managed to complete the trifecta. Beat Man United every time, and Chelsea as well.
Yeah, but you beat us not so long ago anyway, at home.
Yeah, but this is the
surprise,
end of
surprise at home.
This is the end of my
every game at home, aren't they, all season? Luke, here's the question that we all want to know the answer to.
Yeah.
Are Man United back?
No. They're not back, Liam. Look at the position of the league. No, they're not back at all. If we can capitalize on this, well, if we'll see in the next game, I suppose the next game Southampton, we should be beating them.
Yeah, I think you should, yeah.
I think we'll just see the next few games. We'll see how it goes.
You've got Southampton and Brighton at home, haven't you? That Brighton game's an interesting one, I think.
Yeah, Brighton seems to be a bit of our bogey team, so that might be an interesting.
Like everybody else.
Yeah,
so
true.
Teams in the bottom half have quite a lot of at least every other team is the bogey team. Teams that are in the bottom half of the league.
Can before we move on, the penalty takers for United were interesting, weren't they? Lenny Yoro, Martinez.
I'm surprised Euro took one. That was weird, but I think Maguire would have took one and he came on for him, so I don't know if that was right. I think Dalot has taken him and he was obviously off. Yeah.
When Joshua Zirkzee stepped up, I was like, oh my God, this is going.
He was the one person I wasn't confident, but because I was so unconfident about us winning, I was just like, this fucker's going to score here.
It did seem a bizarre choice to be fifth.
Yeah.
I must admit, but fair play, he had his moment. Cameron said he was the hero of the night. I thought I was pushing it a little bit, but it was a nice moment for him.
Apart from the keeper saving the penalty as well.
The Odegaard save was really good.
Yeah.
I think both were really, really good. I mean, he's clearly got a good side. His bottom left, where he saved both the penalties, I think they were both right in the corner. You know, he's a big old lad, but to still get down and save both penalties, I thought both of them were really good. Fair play to him. He couldn't kick for shit, but he can save a penalty. So anyway, well done, Luke. Fair play. Liam, can I have a rant about Arsenal, please, for 1 minute, and then you can ask me a question?
Yeah.
Or do you have any questions, and then we'll see if it leads into a rant?
What you can ask that triggers a rant?
I've got a few questions.
Right, I'll go on my rant first then, because you're just going to wind me up. Right, it felt like a really damning defeat. Is the only way I can put it.
Yep.
Dominated before and after the red card, and then to lose on penalties. We did dominate. You can't say we didn't. Man United played very well.
Okay, well, all right, go on. Let's say some more nonsense.
Don't be like that. You're wrong if you're just saying I'm wrong. That's the rule of this podcast.
It's definitely the rule of the podcast. That
right, to miss as many chances as we did, and lose on penalties is a real kick in the dick. Also add in 4 potential injuries to take away from it, with Timber coming off, Calafiori missed out from the beginning. Looks like Jesus' season is over after he was just getting into some form. So it's hard to get any positives out of this weekend for us. And buying is the only option. And we're in January. Being stubborn at this point from Arteta, and I feel like it's Arteta, would be foolish in my opinion. I felt even if we had all of our injuries back, I wouldn't be one of them players I wouldn't be one of them fans who just shouted about new players because I want something shiny and new. I still think we would have needed something to get us over the line. I believe the work that has been done now is good, if not excellent, from where we started with Arteta to now. But to falter at this point is taking a step backwards. And now, I've mentioned Isak a lot, but I don't see it happening. I don't even think it would be a funds thing. I just think Newcastle would be so there would be so much hardball from them and refusing to let people go and follow their dreams and actually do something with their lives. They just like to ruin that. So it means it's almost impossible. But if we have plans for someone like Zeszko or Gyökeres, and that's a summer plan, that needs to be now. Then plans need to be moved forward.
Why do you think Arteta's stubborn on it?
I don't know, is my honest answer.
I think I do.
All this being said, to rush to label Arteta like certain media outlets have done as a fraud or a failure or whatever, and the usual...
No one said that.
The usual suspects on GIMP TV would put their rally cry out any day soon will be full of righteousness because they shout the loudest. It's far off the mark. Like, you can have a argument with your wife and it doesn't always have to end in divorce. End of rant.
Is buying in a striker in January, do you think there's a problem for Arteta there? It's like an admission that the plan's not working.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of the problem? That he's concerned it would look to the players as if they're not good enough?
Yeah. But I also think it can be looked at as we've lost Jesus, our number 9, our official number 9, regardless of what Havertz does week to week.
Well, he wears the number 9 shirt. That's
for the rest of the season. And we've more than likely lost Saka for the rest of the season.
What's Jesus' injury? I've not seen anything about that. What's he got?
Suspected ACL.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. They think that he tweaked it in an earlier challenge, and then it was the challenge on the edge of the box against Bruno. He'd lost his boot and he lost his fucking rag. Sort of kicked Bruno into the gear, really. It was the worst thing that could have happened in that match. We lost our striker and put Bruno into overdrive for the rest of the match. So, suspected ACL with Jesus. Obviously waiting confirmation, but that his season's over. Saka, they've said March. I have my doubts with the talk of the hamstring injury having...
Yeah, there's rumours about that, isn't there? It's completely fucked. I don't know if that's a medical term.
I'm sure most people have who've ever played the game, and you know yourself how bad they are. They can be, and they can fire themselves back up again as soon as you start running.
You don't really hear of hamstring injuries anymore. Well, it feels like Harry Kane's the other person who gets hamstring injuries.
Fucking footballers are...
Yeah, it's common hamstring, isn't it?
It used to be. Now you don't really hear about hamstring injuries.
They look after themselves so well. It's really hard to do one, and when you do one, you probably do it. So anyway, regardless, it doesn't have to be seen as an admission of failure of yourself. It can be, we fucking need a striker. We wanted one in the summer. Our plan was always to do this. We've never really replaced Aubameyang. We've tried different outlets, and we brought Jesus in. He worked for 6 months, then he didn't. We haven't bought a striker since we sold.
Man, can I pull you up on a comment you just made?
Yeah.
Because I'm confused now, right?
Here we go.
You've just said then, I don't want to misquote you, is even if we had all our injuries back, you just don't want another shiny thing. But the last 2 seasons, yeah, you have been very adamant that you are probably one of the best teams in the league,
ever.
And you've been ever. So
I've not been adamant. We've finished twice for the last 2 seasons in a row. That's not. I'm not made that up.
So surely then this season should have been the season to go. Well, especially with the City fall off, and they're still the same players. I'm not understanding now. You're wanting a million other players, all these strikers.
I want one.
So you think one striker will sort everything out at Arsenal?
I think it will make a big, big difference, yeah.
I think you need 2 players. I think you need a striker. That's not a shock. I also think you need a right winger. Check the workload off Saka long term, and also to give you someone for the rest of the season. And I think Mbeumo at Brentford is such an obvious candidate for that position.
It's like too obvious, isn't it? It'll just get to the last day of January, and then someone at Arsenal might realise that. But yeah, it's almost too obvious. I agree. Yes, 2 would be nice. What you're saying, Liam. I think the need is a striker because I think we've got a lot of players who can play in a variety of positions. So I don't think numbers is where we're worried about here. In players, I just think we need a quality striker.
Who normally plays in your left and midfield? Is it Rice?
Left of
Mid,
the
like
three?
not. Yeah.
Well, it's a mix up. It'll be Partey, Rice, Ødegaard. Ødegaard's always going to be in that 10 role. So then you can do Rice and Marino, with Marino being that one who's floating around.
He was terrible yesterday.
He had his worst game for us yesterday, which is disappointing. Because I like him as a player, but yeah, he went missing.
Sign of the season, we were told on him, weren't we?
He was.
Well, if you remember the full quote from that and you don't just deal in hysteria like you two do, what I said was, if we win the league, it will be because I think he will have made a big impact in that position.
Mm.
And he hasn't, and we're not going to win the league, so...
Well, that's for that position there. You just said, so that left-hand side, do you need a player there?
No. I don't think we need a player. Like I said, you can have bad games. You don't need to rip the... I don't know.
No, they've got plenty of players in that position.
What's the word? What's the word here, Liam? Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
You've got plenty of players in that position.
I've had a bad
Daniel Marlin's going to Villa, isn't he? For what? Just over 20 million?
Well, that was we mentioned this the other week about Ollie Watkins potentially.
I just think Daniel Marlin at 20 odd million. That's someone who wouldn't mind, in my mind anyway, competing for that position with Saka. And he plays in a very similar way where he's not your pacey type winger, he's very much creative type.
Well, he came through the
midfielder.
He came through the academy with Saka.
Well, yeah.
On opposite wings, so Villa seem to be there. I don't think that's our focus unless it's Nico Williams, who Arteta is on record as really liking. Again, there's release clauses there. He would be the one who I see, and then I don't know.
Well, anyone would want fucking Nico Williams, wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course. It's brilliant, but not everyone can afford him. I think we're in a good position financially.
That's the Williams brothers.
Pardon?
You got both the Williams brothers. You're getting Iñaki as well.
Isn't he like 30 odd now?
Yeah. Get yourself, what's wrong with that? Oh, he can't be any good. Oh, he can't.
I don't think he plays for Bilbao much anymore.
Yeah, but this is it, isn't it? You want someone who can come in and score a goal. You don't want. Anyway,
he isn't that.
Chris Wood. That's who you need.
You're obsessed.
Chris Wood is a good shout for you, man. Is that that's your standard?
What's that mean?
Just middle of the road striker that will get a few goals. I think, man, this is a disaster for you, man. I really do. Like, now you've got Champions League and you've got Premier League, and you're ballsing up the Premier League. So hopefully the Champions League, that you think that's not really that good of a trophy, you should go for that.
Who's ever said that?
Oh, you've said the Premier League is a better trophy than Champions League.
I said it's harder to win. And I would
prefer. Now you're changing the narrative now.
I'm not, and I said I would prefer to win the Premier League over the Champions League.
Okay.
That's what I said. Don't try and twist things. This isn't some tabloid media.
Potentially, you could come back against Newcastle at St James's. Maybe
there's no reason why not. That should be the priority now. It's a massive game that now. That's the easiest chance of winning a trophy. Even though you're 2-0 down in that game, that's the easiest route you've got to winning a trophy this season. Still.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I just don't see it happening. I hope we do. I think an upturn in confidence if we get a couple of results. We've got Spurs this week at home. Like there's no better chance to.
At home again.
We have played them away already, just so you know. Not that Spurs at home is the biggest travel inconvenience or Spurs away. Listen.
You got Villa at home next as well.
There's no better game than Spurs at home to, sort of get your confidence back up.
Not for United.
Or kill it completely. What talk about United? Shut up. What are you? Anyway, any final thoughts on Arsenal, Liam?
No, not for me. I think you've covered it well there, Martin.
Luke?
No, yeah. I hope you don't win anything.
Ever.
That's not nice. I've said well done and stuff and nice things about your team tonight.
Yeah, but you've got to have that mindset. Only your team.
And also,
anyone else don't win anything.
You didn't mean it either, man.
That's true. I didn't mean it. But this is fixing football, not fixing
petty rivalries.
Yeah, fixing friendships. They're truly broken after this episode. Let's right. Let's wrap it up. Luke, I mentioned we are soon to be our 100th episode.
Oh,
what do you want to see? What do you want to see and do on our 100th episode?
What's your fancy dress costume?
Let's fix something. Finally.
Could it be your audio?
Yeah. 100 episode. I don't know. Let's have a star guest on.
Yeah. Scott. See if he's interested. I ain't getting any guests. Right. Let's wrap it up there. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, we're taking all submissions for questions and stuff for the 100th episode. If you'd like to be involved, get in touch. You can find all the information to get in touch at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com. And that is it. We will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.